we can often end up being an encyclopedia for a company because we are like, digging our nose into different things and like learning different things. And also we kind of, end up knowing different people and connecting with different people. We can often be the people who kind of know it, they're like, oh, I don't know the answer, but like Colette will know is like often what ends up happening because we are that big picture, so like looking back out and seeing everything that's going on. So I think that's like sounds a little bit like what's going on is like you were kind of like the human encyclopedia is one of the other strengths that I know we talked about a while ago that you probably remember is because again we're like back right out here is we can often see the interplay of things and what's going on, and so we can be very good project managers and like looking at like, okay, well if we do this then this will make this easier, and then if we do this this can happen, and we can see how all these things are interconnected. And so in an ideal world, what might have worked well, just an idea for the future, is if you'd have said, okay, listen, I your boss, depending on whether or not he would have signed up to this, obviously, just an idea, just a starting thought, is if you could have said, listen, this is something I'm good at, this is something I enjoy, this is something I know I can add value in, of trying to wrap your arms around these systems and being a little bit more proactive with it and put in systems and processes to try and minimize that kind of reactive. And that's where buckets of your day could have been really helpful of like, listen, Fridays, I am not working on, whatever it is. And, like I said, I don't take client calls on I only take client calls on Mondays and Tuesdays. I have one on Friday this week. I'm not perfect. And so in an ideal world, one day of a week could have been carved out for, you know what, I got to get my arms around this and figure out some ways of like reducing this like consistent reactive nature and trying to like put some options in place to try and manage it a little bit better. It sounds like he's a bit of a nightmare, so who knows if that would have been possible. Bucketing your days can be really helpful because otherwise it's one of those things where like you're really good at these tasks and you'd be really capable of doing that, but if things are just throwing at you, it can feel exhausting. You're never going to get to these things. Whereas it's like, okay, it's one day a week where like you're going to get your head down. That could be like something that could in an alternative universe work.